The CBU Technical Administration and Senior Staff Union, the Academics Union and CBU Allied Workers Union staged a protest demanding the immediate removal of the Vice-Chancellor. The three unions that held a demonstration on the 10th of January 2018 disclosed that the Vice-Chancellor has mismanaged and failed to run the institution as he lacks academic focus. This was after a vote of no confidence had been passed against Vice-Chancellor Professor Naison Ngoma on 10th January 2018.
The major challenge we are facing as workers at CBU, we found our Vice-Chancellor to be a mismanager. He has failed totally to run this institution because he doesn't understand the core business of this institution. The concentration is on not what the core is. Okay? For instance, we have not had salaries paid on time for the past 4 years since we came in office. We have to wait 10 days to get paid. And all the time what we get are memos to tell us that there is no money to pay us on time. Now, as a Vice-Chancellor, he's been employed as a resource manager to be able to mobilize resources. The government has not failed to honor. They pay their grant on time. I mean, they pay the grant even if it delays, but they still pay. So it's not entirely the fault of government. Government pays. But he has failed as a manager to be able to look at how does he mobilize resources so that he can pay on time.
Professor Naison Ngoma, the Vice-Chancellor at CBU, says the institution does not generate all the funds required to pay salaries, and he also appealed to those against him to use the right channel.
Copperbelt University, it does not have the funds. Itself does not generate all the funds which are required to pay salaries. In fact, what we generate is a small part of what eventually gets used for salaries. The bulk of the funding comes from government. Now, government has its own challenges, like everybody else. Systems have their own challenges. And coupled with the human failures in the process, you then find that so there are times when, in fact, the delays in salaries may have been due to human failure at some point in the chain. Unions, in my view, are failing their own members, right? Unions always, in most cases, have all the information they need. When we have a shortage, when salaries are late or are going to be late, the registrar will send a message to everybody that colleagues' salaries are going to be late, but we are doing everything. And then the registrar will do more than that. You will then call the union executive and give them the details why actually the salaries are late. You know? So they cannot turn around and say, oh, these are serious things, unions are not involved. I'm not employed by the workers. I'm not employed by the academic union. I'm not employed by any union. I'm not employed by a single group of workers. None whatsoever. We are, all of us, employed by government. If really they are convinced and they've got facts that I'm not doing stuff which is right, surely they can go to the rightful authorities.
Most structures at CBU are in dilapidated state due to lack of maintenance. For instance, this classroom has a leaking roof, and whenever it rains, students do not have classes, and yet they pay school fees.
But there's money to travel the whole world. Okay? And there's money to repair the tent every classroom at all, apart from working on the tent. the rest of the infrastructure is falling apart. So you can see what is happening here. Just see this, the way the ceiling board is. Engineers as managers for the country. This is unacceptable.
On top of that, classrooms are too small and some students are forced to stand whilst having classes.
We cannot have students standing while they're having classes. Students pay a lot of money to come here to CBU. So as we're going to look around, you see that for yourself, there is no infrastructure to talk about. There are no labs. There is no equipment for the students. We want that to change. And as a manager, he does not see that. So if he feels he's sitting in his office and all is well, that is a lie. We are stakeholders, we are the lecturers, we are the workers. We know what we are lacking. And when we bring these things, this is what we want. We want CBU for ourselves.
For the School of Engineering, the laboratory equipment for electrical engineering is outdated. Lessons are full of theories and students don't get to experience what they are going to be doing in industries.
So as you can see, and what you've already viewed around, this is supposed to be a laboratory for electrical students, but the equipment that is there is obsolete. In fact, it's all from Zambia Institute of Technology, the famously known as ZIT. That is the kind of equipment that is there. We don't even use it. We're supposed to remove it. It's only that there is no manpower to have this equipment removed. Now, we are talking of numbers of 200 for second years, 50, 60. And if you look at this classroom, it cannot accommodate all those students. It is a very small place, to say the least. What we would want to see, as we've already been saying, is that most of these resources, including consumables for students, should be sourced. It doesn't take much. For instance, for mechanical students, all we need is about 50,000 to get the consumables for these students for laboratories. And we want to see new equipment bought instead of concentrating on non-academic issues in the institution. That is what we would like to see as a school, because this is a practical school. We want students to be in touch with reality. They should experience what they are going to be doing in industry. At the moment, it's full of theories, and they don't get to experience and do experiments because we are lacking consumables and indeed the equipment that we can use.
So we are building laboratories, but you see, these are not things which are just going to take place overnight. We need assistance from everybody else. Right now, I can tell you that there are members of the public who are prepared to assist us to build some of these laboratories, especially the laboratory which is going to be for School of Natural Resources in the nature reserve.
All these will have to come out.
Sanitation is another challenge at CBU, and since 1972, the ablution block has never been rehabilitated. The sanitary facility initially meant for 2,000 students, but as of now, the university is managing about 10,000 students.
I think the facilities that we have were initially meant for a very small group, which was about 2,000 or so. Now we are managing about 10,000 because when students, some of them stay here and some are in one room as many as 6. But many of them come from boarding houses in around Riverside. So when they come here, they use the same facilities. But we also have a problem of water. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there. We hope that this can be continuous because of the large traffic of people.
Okay. Now, in terms of toilets, how many toilets do you have here at CBU for your students?
We have about 56, and into each one of them, The sitting toilets are about 6 in each, and then for the ladies they are slightly more, but for the men we have urinaries, which are about 3 in each toilet.
And how would you describe their condition?
Were initially meant for a very small group, which was about 2,000 or so. Now we are managing about 10,000 because when students, some of them stay here and some are in one room as many as 6. But many of them come from boarding houses in around Riverside. So when they come here, they use the same facilities. But we also have a problem of water. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not there. We hope that this can be continuous because of the large traffic of people.
The Copperbelt University is the second highest public institution in the country, which should be maintained up to its standard. And the union members believe that with the right person in charge, the institution has potential to reach its greater heights. University staff at CBU would want to see the university return to its former glory, offering high-quality education in teaching, research, and consultancy. It is regrettable that the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Naison Ngoma, has failed in his duty to steer this once popular university forward.